Welcome to the Investor Empowerment Series radio show, empowering your real estate investing with techniques, opportunities, and information, minus the BS and sales pitches. Now, please welcome the host of the Investor Empowerment Series, Joe Mueller, from the Tough as Nails Investment Syndicate, Joe Mueller.
Boom, we're live. Let me see what podcast this is. I don't even know. I missed a week. Welcome back to the Investor Empowerment Series radio show. This is your host, Joe Mueller. Today co-hosted with my good buddy and partner, Dan Clarton.
Hooah!
Hooah! This is episode number 65.
65?
65.
Wow.
Isn't that how old you are?
No.
You didn't like that joke.
No. I'm much younger.
Yes, you are. I know. I was just kidding. Dan's not 65.
And my maturity level is even lower than my age.
Yeah, that's like 25. That's like, yeah, there's lots of decades off of that. In a good way, though. All right, so today we're going to talk about creating financial efficiencies in real estate investing. What does that mean? I don't even know if we know what it means. We just came up with the title.
Sure, borrow us the money, we'll take care of it and give you a return.
There you go.
It doesn't get any more efficient than that.
That is one way. That is one way.
What about the people that want to do it for themselves, though, Joe?
Yeah, good point. Today we're going to talk about different ways that you can save money or be more efficient with your spending or your monies when you're investing in real estate. I wanted to have Dan on the show because we've got a really big announcement to be made in the coming weeks. November 14th. It's a special day.
Are you going to propose to me? I'm already married, Joe.
I thought about that, but my wife will get mad.
Okay, good. Mine too.
We are going to be announcing something very special and close to us, not marriage or proposals, on November 14th, 2017 at our meetup group, which is hosted here at our office in Algonquin, Illinois. And but before we even get to that, we're going to talk about the topic of this podcast a little bit more in depth on ways you can create financial efficiencies in your real estate investing. So, first,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that meeting that we're gonna.
You want to talk about the meeting?
Well, no, you said we're gonna have what'd you call it? An announcement?
I think it's an announcement. What would you call it?
Yeah, usually announcements are more exciting for the people making the announcement.
Probably.
And I think in this case, the people that are the recipient of the announcement will be more excited than us.
I think so.
Because usually big announcements don't really impact the receiver of the information. Like, ooh, we got exciting news. Like my daughter. Oh, my daughter's getting married. Well, that's exciting for them. For me, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as excited as she is for that reason. Right?
Sure.
So what we have to share on November 14th, I think is going to be ultra exciting for the people that come to the meeting. As much so or unequal to our excitement level.
Oh, I agree. It's without beating around the bush too much, our meeting, if you choose to attend, which I advise that you do if you're able to, is going to be at 6:30 p.m. The doors open. We're going to have a couple pizzas on order for those who show up. It's $10 at the door, which includes the cost of admission, and to attend the meetup, which basically I know I've talked about it, well, not 65 times, but quite a few times on the podcast about how the meetup goes, but great opportunity to meet other investors, network, learn something, learn about your local market, find deals from and with other investors, partner with investors, potentially find money that could be available. Shoot, we did one, I almost swore there. We did one a couple weeks back where we had that one attorney that you're familiar with that was actually sitting in the room, and she basically said, yeah, I'm kind of a real estate investor. I don't really buy properties, but I have cash that I lend out to other investors.
That's right.
How many meetups do you go to where you actually have somebody that actually says, hey, by the way, I'm a cash lender, or I'm a private lender, and I'm willing to lend you my cash for whatever the rate. I don't remember what her rate was, but private money rate's a little higher. It was like a little more of a hard money rate, but hey, you need money to do the deal. What was funny about that, though,
It was awesome.
is how many now we're going on a spin-off here, but how many people actually approached that person, do you think, during or after the meetup about the fact that she was a private lender? Considering one of the biggest obstacles we face as investors is funding.
We had a whole meeting on funding.
We had a whole meeting last week about it, about funding and the different types that are available and different mortgage opportunities and unconventional type lenders that are out there and what their rates look like and their loan programs look like.
Well, hold on a second. In response to that, if you haven't been to this meetup, or I don't know other meetups that you've been to, you have the big fancy quote RIA meetings, which are promoted in a whole different way. And there's usually a bunch of stuff for sale from out of town people and all that. This is just what we call a local meetup. There was 35 people here last week.
There was, yeah. We packed the house.
We packed the house, and that's exciting because whether you've been before, haven't been in a while, you've heard us say it's like TJ Maxx. It's never the same store twice. So every time you come, there's potentially new people to meet, new opportunities to be had.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to throw that out there because I always encourage people to RSVP because I'm in belief that a crowd draws a crowd in a good way. And because I'm on Meetup myself, I lose count to how many meetups pop up, and it's 2 days before and it says 3 people going.
Right.
Of all the meetups that said there's 3 people going, do you know how many of those I've attended so far? Yeah, carry the 1.
Right.
That'd be 0. Because they go, why would I possibly go to that? There's nothing compelling going on there. So
You're right.
Know that this meetup is one that's attended, and if you are coming, please RSVP.
Yeah, so if you want to RSVP or want to learn more about the meetup, you can visit us online, www.investor-empowerment-chicago.com, which will take you to my meetup. And Dan's meetup is the action. The Real Estate Investment Action and Accountability Group, which you can search out either via Google or you can go to Meetup directly. We're both locally hosting in Algonquin, so depending on where you're located at, you can go on meetup.com, type in meetups near me in Algonquin, and it'll bring it up. So the Real Estate Investing Action and Accountability Group via Meetup, or the Chicagoland Investor Empowerment Series, somewhat one and the same. Dan and I kind of combined efforts probably over a year ago at this point, I don't remember, maybe even longer, to just bring more benefit to the group. Last meeting, which was a week ago, we had several brand new attendees that had never come to a meetup before.
We love newbies.
Yeah, we loved it because there's lots of good people here. There was a new investor that came that literally had just closed on her first investment property as a flip later that afternoon. The same day of the meetup, she found out about the meetup from the attorney that she used to close the deal, and he was attending the meetup, which is our attorney Vince that we've used a few times, Vincent Copero from the Real Law Group. Shameless plug. So he told her about it, and she showed up, and then she called me after saying she'd love to have everyone come out to her new flip and just take a look at it as it's in the construction process. And I think that's a great idea because that's one of the things we do to support each other or teach other investors about flipping houses or fixing up houses for rent. Is we host a meeting called the Fix and Flip Focus Group, and that's basically visiting 2 to 3 houses during our time together on a Tuesday evening and checking out what an end rehab looks like from start to finish, the beginning, the middle, and the end of a rehab. If you get you ideas, what type of design ideas are out there, what's popular, what are other rehabbers doing, what type of changes they make to properties and why. For example, open floor plans, knocking down walls, creating master bathroom suites, things like that. Those are all things you can get out of something like that. And I don't know how many investors out there are able to access that type of a tool to be able to just to see what everyone else is doing in their market. So I think it's a great idea.
It also speaks to the diversity of the people that come to this meeting. We
Sure.
have people that are actually doing deals, which some groups don't have.
True.
We have attorneys that show up. We have money lenders that show up. We have contractors that show up.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it, it's here.
Right.
Usually.
And the cool thing about that is you've got all those resources together in one room. So you've got an attorney that'll be there potentially. You've got, like you said, the contractors. You've got a guy like Ben who's kind of like a clean out guy or eviction assistant type guy. That's putting it loosely.
That's enough. That's off the grid conversation.
Title company representation. So brokers, myself being a broker, as well as it's attended by some of the other TANIS brokers on occasion. These are people that can help you find deals, work you through your first or your 10th deal, get your deals closed, help you facilitate your real estate investing business. That's the whole point of the meetup.
I mean, anyone that's ever been married or has kids getting married, and I had one a couple years ago, I got another one coming up. It's like when you go to those bridal expos and they got photographers and limousines and venues and caterers. Everything's all in one place. To some degree, that's kind of what goes on here.
That's true. Not to mention the newly founded TANIS library,
which is quite popular, I've noticed.
Yeah. So we took all the books. We have some donations from some of our investors. My massive collection of hoarding real estate books, because all I basically do is sit on Amazon when I'm bored and click to buy books, used books, new books, whatever, from all types of real estate investing topics, and put them all into one big bookshelf in the back room. And now those are available for anyone who attends the meetup to, quote unquote, check out.
Very cool.
I thought it's pretty cool. We've got like 5 books on checkout loan right now.
Mm-hmm.
Several couple repeat offenders that have taken a few, but that's okay. That's great. People that are learning to do stuff. So let's dig into. So that's great. That's about the meetup. November 14th, 6:30 p.m. Doors open. $10 at the door. A couple pizzas available if you want to attend. We've also got refreshments available for those who have attended in the past. You know what I'm talking about. For those who haven't, water, pop, and beer. And some wine, apparently we have too. I know.
I saw someone crack the wine.
Cracked a bottle of wine last week. So that is all included with your entrance to the meetup. But let's talk about what we're going to talk about today on the podcast in a little more detail, which kind of leads up to what we're doing on November 14th, which is, creating financial efficiencies in real estate investing and effectively saving money as a real estate investor. And there's a lot of ways out there that I think you hear about a little bit, but you don't know how to do it. You don't know what to say. You don't know where to go. And we're kind of going to expose some of that stuff, not only today on the podcast, but also go into a little bit more detail, or maybe a lot more detail, at the meetup itself. So first on the list, we just made a quick bullet point list on what type of options you have for discounts at like a big box store, for example. So Dan and I were talking previous to recording. You go to your local Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards, and you've got 3 carts full of stuff for a flip you're working on. You go to the checkout line. Is that the right place to go?
No.
Okay. Where do we go?
So if you're going to be a real estate investor and you're going to be buying supplies in that quantity, which is probably more than the weekend warrior,
right?
You want to get an account set up over at the Pro Desk.
Pro Desk, yep.
All the big box stores have them, and there's benefits to being a part of it. Whether like Lowe's, for example, has credit cards that you can get through them,
mm-hmm.
that instantly you get 10% off on every purchase.
10% off all the time.
Every day, any day, 10% off.
I know Menards had a program for a while where you get a cash back. There was like a percentage of cash back.
Mm-hmm.
So for every $1 you spent, you got, I think it was like 2 or 3% back. I don't know if they still offer that program. I don't typically go to Menards that much anymore. But depending on where you're located in the country, I'm sure there's different options out there. But the point of that is you can walk out of there sometimes with at least a 10% discount at a minimum, especially if Menards is having their 11% off sale, by the way. So for those of you who have Menards in your area that offer that 11% off, any other box store in the area is going to match that price and or beat it. And that's actually Home Depot's policy. You can even look it up on their website. If you can find a better price of the same product that they sell at a different store, for example, Grand Appliance for a refrigerator, they will beat that price that you brought in as advertised. Best Buy does that too, as a matter of fact.
They all like to do that.
They all do that. They just don't talk about it as much.
Of course.
Right, because they don't want to be giving money away.
Let's face it, nobody wants to give away anything they don't have to.
Right.
But there's plenty given away to the people that ask.
Correct. And that's the key. So you're running through the line, you've got your 3 carts over at Home Depot, and you've set up your pro account through Home Depot. So now you're affiliated with a pro desk contractor, sales rep essentially, who's going to help you, help facilitate whatever you're looking for, maybe put stuff on order for you that you can't find in the store, help you get your product, and you're standing in line at the register and they ring it up, and then what?
Well, for a lot of people, they just ring it up and they leave.
They walk out.
They walk out. What I would suggest is when you have your materials list, try to buy as much of it at one time whenever possible.
Yep.
Because the bigger the order, the more attention you gather from the people at the pro desk, because it's like, holy cow. I mean, we were just over at Lowe's, was that just last week? And we loaded up a couple, 3 carts, and the top line cost of all those goods was in excess of $3,400.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And we know that we get 10% off, and we merely pulled the manager of the pro desk aside and said, hey man, we got a lot of stuff here, what can you do for us?
Right.
What can, and for the ask, he came down beneath 10%.
Over 10%.
Over 10%.
Right. He knocked off another couple $100.
And I go, can you do any better? And you keep asking until they go, no, the way I phrase it, I go, what's the discount you can give me that's just shy of you losing your job? That's the one I'm looking for.
Right. So there's some of you out there that might be more like Dan, who love the sport of that type of game and going to the pro desk and negotiating every time you have a big purchase. I'm kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where I expect that I'm going to get some type of discount, but I like to solidify my expectations, because I don't want to go talk to the manager every time I go to whatever store it is and say, is that the best you can do? Are you sure that's the best you can do? So I typically I'm trying to establish a flat number with them, where I say, no. On the last order you gave me X number % off. And then they kind of look and go, oh, okay. And then I just plainly say, well, it's my expectation that I'm getting the same amount off. That's why I'm coming here.
But the other side of that is depending on the goods. Like some items have different margins than others.
Of course.
So the standard agreed discount would be great for everything in the aisles. Appliances would be different because there's a lot more margin in those.
Yep.
So they can discount those yet even deeper.
Something to consider.
But hold on a second. So there's an important thing to talk about here, is that and you're in the rehabbing business, if you're in the insurance business, whatever business you're in, you're ultimately in the people business.
True.
And that's something that I think is overlooked. I make it my goal when I go to these places to specifically go seek these guys out and yuck it up with them and take a personal interest in them and what's going on, how you've been, how's business, how's the family, blah, blah, blah. Because the more they like you, the more they're willing to do for you.
Sure.
And it's the little things, like we get invited when they have their lunches for contractors or whatever.
Menards, Lowe's, and Home Depot all do that, yep.
Do we really want to traipse all the way over there to get a couple pieces of fried chicken and a soda? Frankly, not really.
Right.
But we drop everything and make sure we're there because they do a lot for us. And if you understand how these businesses work, everybody has to answer to somebody. Mm-hmm. So the boss of the store is asking the guys at the pro desk how many of their contractors they have coming in, because they bring in reps from different companies of stuff they supply.
Right.
And so we go there to make our guy look good.
Yep.
And so when we do that, it makes it a little easier for him to give us a little better discount than he might normally give somebody that just comes up demanding a discount for no real good reason.
That's right. No,
so
makes a lot of sense.
Work it is what I would tell you.
Work it. I like it. And if you're somebody that isn't a people person, more like me, you can still go back and say, here's what I got on my last order.
And then you can still do that. Absolutely.
Okay.
But you have to get it on any order, or else you got nothing to go back to.
What I was going to say was, shit, I think I forgot. Oh, when you're taking a personal interest in the reps behind the desk at these places, keep in mind that they're also taking a personal interest in you. So I know where I shop and get the supplies for our projects. They know each address I'm working on. They're following up with me. They're making sure we've got everything we need. And that kind of continues to bring me back, because it's like a reciprocal relationship at that point, where they're like, hey, how's that project over there, in Chicago going? And I say, oh yeah, we ran into a few snafus on the carpet guy or whatever. Something happened, he didn't show up. And they say, oh, my brother-in-law knows a guy who does great carpet. Or we have one of these contractors who comes into the Home Depot desk almost every day. He's really busy. He's really good. We've referred him out a few times. Try this guy. So something to keep in mind, just as for those of you who are looking for resources to find people to do some of this work, go to these desks and talk to the guys behind the desk and tell them, hey, I need a drywaller. I need a painter. I need a roofer, because they're dealing with these types of people every day.
And they're usually local guys.
Oh, I would say most always.
So if you're doing a project in a town not near you, but you have a good relationship with the people at the store closest to you,
right?
Ask them if they do you a favor and call the store
closest to the property
and get the pro desk manager on the phone and have your guy ask that guy for a couple recommendations for this or that type of contractor.
It's a great point. All right, so we talked about how to work with the big box stores a little bit. Next one is a big one. Really happy to work with and utilize some of the best quality paint out there from a company like Sherwin-Williams. Sherwin-Williams offers a contractor discount. They also offer a real estate investor discount. And these numbers are pretty phenomenal. If you walk into a Sherwin-Williams and look at what it costs for 1 gallon of paint, your jaw's going to drop, because some of them are in excess of $80 for a gallon, depending on what the application is and what the brand, not the brand, but like the style of paint and the sheen and what it's going to be used for, if it's a ceiling paint versus a wall paint, for example. At our meetup on Tuesday, November 14th, we're actually going to give out our account code in order to offer you that same discount we get. And one of the examples, I looked at a receipt before doing this podcast, and for what effectively was listed as a $69 gallon of paint, we walked out of there paying just over $18 for. So they knocked $50 off the price just for having, being a member of this account. Yeah, that's big numbers.
That's huge.
On our most recent project, I think we went through we painted the whole outside, painted the whole inside, ceilings, walls, exterior trim, exterior siding. I'm pretty sure we got about 32 gallons of paint altogether.
We could have filled a small swimming pool.
Well, we filled up the bed of my truck, that's for sure. And then I had to go back again and get another 5 gallon and another 2 gallon for ceiling paint. I mean, that's a lot of money there. I mean, it was a savings of several $100s just by having the access to this code. Like I said, we're going to give out that code. If anybody can't make it, reach out to me after the meetup, and I'd be happy to supply that to you, but we're going to hold off on releasing it live on the podcast until we actually host the meetup. So another thing to consider, Sherwin-Williams also has, at every store, there's behind the desk, they keep, last time I was at the local store I've been to several times. Well, they do have free paint sticks. There's probably about 30 to 40 business cards of different providers, I'm going to call them, in the industry. So construction framers, obviously painters, drywall guys, drywall finishers, roofers, carpet guys, all those aspects, because Sherwin-Williams is designed for the average homeowner to walk in. They have a design specialist on staff, which we should talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
So you walk in because you want to paint your bedroom, and they're going to ask you questions. They're going to try to fulfill your needs, and then they're going to say, is there anything else we can help you with? Do you need flooring? Do you need any drywall work done? They've got a Rolodex of information available, so you could effectively walk out of there with a whole list of contractors for your next project as well. So the design aspect. One other thing, you sign up as which again, you'll get this through our code that we're going to give out. You sign up as a contractor, or you are a contractor, or you utilize this code through Sherwin-Williams. They actually have interior design specialist? Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
I know what fancy title we gave her.
Yeah,
but all I know is that she knows how to put colors together.
Right. She knows how to pick colors. She knows what the in colors are right now. she will come out to your project. They charge a fee on the front end, which I think is $45.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you buy the paint, after she designs, let's say, your color pattern schemes, whatever, depending on what your plans are for that house, then they take that $45 gets charged and gets removed once you actually go in there and buy the paint. If I remember right, she said she might give some type of a discount coupon or a card or something where basically she reimburses you for her cost. So for those of you who are color palette, what is it? I was going to say declined, but have trouble picking colors for houses, or don't know what the in thing is, or maybe it's your first project, or you're too busy to worry about it, because that's also kind of a pain in the butt too when you got a bunch of balls in the air juggling a couple different houses. Unless you keep everything the same, which is fine. That's kind of like what we do. If you want to be a little more creative, invite one of these designers out there from Sherwin-Williams and have them pick your paint colors for you. I mean, what a great idea. And it's effectively free.
It's effectively free. Why wouldn't you do it?
Why wouldn't you? I know. We're going to do it on the next one. Just for fun. Just to see, yeah. We'll see what colors that they come up with.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move on from the paint store talk to working with brokers. Dan talked a little bit about creating relationships with some of the sales reps at your big box stores. And being an independently owned real estate brokerage here at TANIS Group Realty, we effectively offer a discount to any investor that either wants to list property with us and have us sell it for them, or is looking for a property management in any capacity for the rentals, whether it be apartment building, single family, whatever it is. All those services we offer, those are offered at a discount to investors. Not necessarily because I just want the investor business, because I am an investor and I want my clients to feel like, we're doing the same job that you get from any other brokerage, if not better, at a discounted rate, because they're effectively going to be a repeat client to me. That's where it comes into something like, why would it even go below 6% or 5% as a listing agent fee? Well, that's why, because you're going to come back to me, through the experience you have with my company. You're going to come back over and over if you're going to continue to work in this business as an investor. So any investor who's interested in listing anything or needs property management, you can email me at joe@tanisgroupllc.com for more information on how that works. But, effectively it's all about saving money. To make money, make a little bit more money, you got to save some money. I get it. I'm in that spot as well. So I can appreciate helping out other investors.
Some of these things on one house make a difference of a few $1,000s.
Sure.
And some people might go, do I really want to go off this for a couple $1,000s? But what if you did 30 houses over a period of 5 years?
Sure.
Or 10 years? What if you did three houses a year for 10 years? You did 30 houses. Right. And you could save $2,000 or $3,000 on each one through all these different things.
Absolutely.
That starts becoming significant money.
Yeah. Even just on commission, it could be $1,000.
Yeah.
So add in the discounts you can get, 10 to whatever, 15, 20% off at some of these big box stores, depending on the time of the year. Don't forget about Black Friday, by the way. That's coming up real soon here. Black Friday is a great opportunity to go out and buy all your appliances. Normally those things are sold at rock bottom pricing on Black Friday, so keep that in mind. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is not about the one deal. This is about 20 deals. This is about 10 deals. This is about 50 deals over the course of 5, 10 years, whatever it is, and effectively saving tens of thousands of dollars, if not more.
So even if you're working on what's your absolute first project, or you're gearing up to buy your first investment property, start with the end in mind.
Absolutely. Oh, I think that's always a solid plan. Part of as we've talked about in other podcasts about building your team, every bullet point we've brought up today so far is somebody that you should have on your team, whether it's a person or an entity or a company. It's part of your team. It's part of your program. So you go get a discount at XYZ tile store, for example, or flooring, decor, and more type store, or Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever it is. You get your paint at a Sherwin-Williams, you get a significant discount. This is all stuff working with the right broker who's going to give you a good deal on a listing agency fee, all going to save you money in the scope of your real estate business. So keep all that in mind. What about closing costs?
Closing cost is an expense to doing business.
Yep.
It's a necessity. It can't be avoided.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some strategies to use in order to tighten that up at the same time.
I agree. And what's interesting is, and we've talked about this before, but most people haggle the crap out of the price on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
And are so concerned with saving, no, I'm not going a penny over $100,000 to buy this house. But when they get to the closing table, and I'm sure everyone listening is either going to giggle or, kick themselves in the shoe when I say this, but then you get to the closing table and there's all these extra charges that get tacked onto the settlement statement.
You blindly pay whatever they tell you.
You pay whatever's on that statement, and most of the time you don't even know what they're about or what that fee is for. So on Tuesday night, November 14th, we're going to review and expose some of these costs.
The big reveal.
The big reveal as to what you can do to effectively save money on real estate closings, whether it be your own house that you're selling for yourself that you live in, or a property you're flipping, or even a wholesale deal. How to save money on a double closing or a contract assignment. The whole umbrella of closing and closing costs, we're going to reveal the big secrets about how to save potentially thousands of dollars depending on the structure of the deal.
That is going to be a meeting highlight.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's never talked about.
Absolutely. Never talked about, because nobody seems to care, because all they cared about was what the price they bought it for. And really the bottom line is not so much what you bought it for, but whatever that number is at the bottom of your settlement statement that says you have to bring to the table for closing. That's the real number.
That's the number you bought the house
real
for.
Number. So I don't know how many people are factoring in tax prorations, as well as the title company costs, as well as transfer stamps, but all those things factor into whatever that deal is, that purchase price, and how much money you're spending or saving when you're transacting a real estate investment. Fair?
Truer words have never been spoken.
So one of the things I wanted to ask of the listenership here for the Investor Empowerment Series radio show is, if you are able to attend, or even if you're not able to attend the meetup, we're going to go through live what these real costs are on a settlement statement and how we can differentiate from that and save you some money in the future next time you buy or sell a property. So if you have a settlement statement on a property you've closed on in the last year, even 2 years, whenever technically, but let's keep it more recent than that. Let's go the last 12 months and we can evaluate it. We can show you where those costs are and how effectively you could save more money on that closing. So if you have a master statement or a settlement statement, or a HUD-1 as they were previously called, you can email them in to me, Joe at TANISGroupLLC.com. You can black out any of the information you don't feel comfortable with. Name, address, phone numbers, all that stuff is fine. We just need the bulk. We just need the numbers. Maybe a property address, but we don't even technically need that. Just send us the numbers. If you plan on attending the meetup, please bring one with you. We're going to have some on hand to review because we're going to be prepared regardless. But what would you say about that? I
think that's excellent.
Right.
Because when it's your own,
right,
and it's going to be interesting to lay some of these side by side,
right,
and you'll see, both these houses sold in the $70,000 range,
mm-hmm.
and this one, and the prices are not going to line up identically on most of these statements.
100%
They're
true.
going to be all over the road.
Just like an attorney fee, right? There's
mm-hmm.
one example. Attorneys in Chicago are kind of a necessary evil for the most part.
Yeah.
It's usual and customary to close a deal within the city or on the surrounding suburbs of Chicago with an attorney. If you don't, a lot of people look at you kind of cross-eyed.
Yeah, like, ooh. You're crazy.
Right. Maybe. Sure. And you might be crazy. But we close without attorneys sometimes. Just depends on the deal.
It's funny. I had a friend that moved into the Nashville area,
mm-hmm.
and I said, "Hey, when you sold your house, did you use an attorney?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "When you bought your house in Nashville, did you have an attorney?" He said, "No." I go, wonder what's the difference? Right. We'll talk about it.
We're going to talk about that on Tuesday night and how you can save more money with that. But attorney fees range anywhere from $350 to $750 for a typical single family or small multi-unit transaction. Those numbers can go up if you're buying a commercial property or a 24-unit apartment building, for example, because there is more work that needs to be done. And in those cases, I would definitely recommend always using some type of legal counsel on the
transaction. You'll never go wrong using legal counsel.
You'll never go wrong. I think they're always typically they're in your corner in order to make sure everything goes well. So we're not advocating that you should not use one. We're just going to talk about how you can effectively be more financially efficient in your real estate investing, and that's going to be one of the topics we bring up. Probably the biggest topic is going to be related to closing costs.
The other thing I've noticed too is that when you have these conversations with any of the above items we discussed, it's like they instantly realize that you're in the know and they respect you at a different level.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
When you even have, the chutzpah to ask these kind of questions, they go, oh, like this guy knows what he's doing.
Right. I completely agree. And the cool thing about what we're going to be offering at our meetup is we're going to lay out these connections for you. So you don't have to have done 10 transactions through ABC title company. You don't have to have ever bought a gallon of paint from a Sherwin-Williams. You don't have to have ever shopped at a Home Depot, though I'm pretty sure most of you have. We're going to connect you with these connections up front in order to help facilitate that financial efficiency in the future for your business. So that's the key to what this podcast is about. That's the key to what our meetup is going to be focused on. Great opportunity to network with some other investors, to learn about how you can save some money in the future. And what were you talking about earlier? There was something you said about, there's 2 ways to save money on or make money or something about that?
Well, if the middle of a deal, let's say the cost of borrowing money and the cost for permits and the cost for materials and the cost for labor, providing that that's all stable and that can't be changed, at that point there's really only 2 ways to make more money on any particular deal. And either A, you got to sell it for more on the back end,
right,
or B, you got to buy it for less on the front end.
Right.
So the closing process is one of the little areas where we can show you how to effectively buy it for less on the front end.
And make more on the back end. Absolutely.
And all that paint and contractor and big box store, that's the stuff in the middle.
Yep.
So between those 3 areas can add up to thousands and thousands of dollars. And it can be the difference between a great flip, a medium flip, or losing money.
Absolutely.
If you don't know the right things to do.
And all these things we're going to discuss that we're referencing today are typically, I'm going to say, they're $000 savings, meaning these are not typically hundreds of dollars. This is going to be $1,000 plus, even in just the closing process, that we're going to show you how to save that type of money on your transactions, which is awesome.
Why would you want to miss this meeting?
Put it in your calendar. 6:30 Central Time. November 14, 2017, at our office here at TANIS Group Realty. We're offering some refreshments as well as a little bit of pizza on the front end. If you come hungry, please do. Doors open at 6:30. Mark your calendar. We'd love to see you. Love to get some more people out there. Our last meeting was phenomenal. We had, like Dan said earlier, we had 35 people out. We were talking about different types of real estate funding. A lot of new faces, at least 10 people that I didn't recognize that we'd never seen before, and probably more. I mean, I wasn't counting, to be honest.
Yeah, bring your business cards.
Absolutely bring business cards. Number 1, if you don't have them, make them. Make them on your computer. Use those Avery little cutout cards you can buy at any Office Max, Depot, whatever store. Get something with your name and phone number on. You're not going to be put in the spotlight. You don't necessarily have to stand up in front of the room and talk about what you're doing. You can if you'd like. We offer those opportunities. If you've got a deal, if you need help with something, if you're selling something as a wholesale, if you're trying to find a fix and flip in a particular area, we can spotlight all those things for you in front of the group to have you present that in front of them, and maybe something will come of it, whether it be a partner or funding or a contractor or finding a deal.
Or a good and service that you have to supply, provided it's related to real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you can help out some of the attendees, then by all means, we're going to let you talk about it. Okay. I think that's all we got today for the Investor Empowerment Series radio show, episode number 65, unless you've got anything else, Dan.
When you come and sign in, let us know that you heard about the meetup on the podcast.
Oh, that would be great. That would be awesome. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. We can have Doug, our administrative assistant who checks everybody in, maybe take note of that. I'm sure he's listening right now. So Doug, don't forget, because I will.
You mean he's not just the front door muscle?
Yeah, he's not. No, there's no muscle there, I don't think. But that's what Ben's for. But anyway, yeah, it's also posted on Bigger Pockets. So if you can't find it on Meetup for some reason, reach out to me, Joe at TANISGroupLLC.com. The Real Estate Action and Accountability Investment Group, as well as the Chicagoland Investor Empowerment Series Meetup. You can find us both places on Meetup, Bigger Pockets, Google it. We're there. Appreciate your time today. Dan, thank you for, again, being my awesome co-host.
Thanks for having me, and looking forward to the meeting on the 14th.
Me too. All right. We'll see you guys then. Take care.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Investor Empowerment Series radio show. Be sure to tune in next week for another empowering episode. We welcome your feedback, so please rate us on iTunes and Stitcher, and visit us at www.investorempowermentchicago.com or TANISGroupRealty.com.